Chapter 4 The Knave Friends. This story is about a brother and sister who tried to help a bird who had laid eggs in the nest near their house. A bird had laid eggs on the cornice of Keshav's home. Cornice is the edge of the wall, the outer wall, which is jutting out, as you can see in the picture. So a bird had laid eggs there in Keshav's house. The brother's name is Keshav and the sister's name is Shama. Both Keshav and Shama, the siblings means brothers and sister, would watch the mother bird keenly as it flew back and forth the nest. Every morning, the very first thing the siblings would do was to stand in front of the cornice, rubbing their eyes, barely awake eyes. So they were so eager to see the bird and the eggs that it had in the nest. They would eagerly wake up every morning and stand in front of that cornice and see the bird going back and forth, making her nest, preparing her nest for the eggs. Numerous questions would flood the young minds. How round, big and beautiful were the eggs? They wanted to know a lot of things about how were the eggs, what was the color of the eggs, how big were they, how round were they. So they wanted to know all these things. What was their color? How many had the bird laid? How many eggs were there? How did the nest look? What was the look of the nest? How did it look? But there were none around to quench their curiosity. There was no one to satisfy their curiosity, their questions, to answer their questions. Ma would be constantly busy with homework, with the housework, So mother would be all the time busy with the housework. Babuji would remain buried in his books. Their father would be busy reading books. The children hence had to console their minds' cravings just by asking and answering each other. So there was no one to answer their questions, their curiosity regarding the bird and its nests and the eggs. And they would only answer and question each other, and they tried to solve the answers and to give answers by each other to each other, by themselves only. So there was no one to quench their thirst to know what the bird's nest was, how were the eggs, all those things. The children's curiosity increased with each passing day. So they were getting eager every day. Having been certain that the eggs had hatched by them, now a new worry began weighing heavy on their mind. What the chicks would eat now. Now they thought most probably the eggs had been hatched. So now another worry was in their head, that what the little baby, the chicks, what would they eat? They were worried that the poor mother bird would not find enough grain to feed her brood. Means the group of babies that she had, the mother bird would not have enough food. These two, Keshav and Shama, were worried about it. This thought made the siblings so anxious that next they decided to scatter some rice and pulses on the cornice for the mother bird. So what they decided now to do was, in the corner, that cornice, the edge out of the wall, they spread some grains of rice and pulses so that the mother bird could at least eat something. Shama chirped in glee. Oh, now the mother bird will not have to fly far off in search of food. Right, Bhaiya? So now Shama was very happy. She told her brother that now the mother bird will not have to go very far to get food. Not anymore, declared Keshav confidently. So Keshav also said that yes, definitely she will not have to go far, she can have the grains from the chronic. Then a new worry clouded Shama's mind. But won't the chicks feel really hot up there? In the bare chronic, now there was no shade on top of it. So now Shama had another worry that the chicks will feel hot because it was sunny and they may feel hot up there. Keshav somehow had not considered this new problem until then. Not till now, Keshav had not thought about this problem. He contemplated. That means he thought. Yes, they probably are parched. Parched means feeling absolutely dry with thirst. And thirsty up there in this sweltering heat. Very hot, extremely hot, sweaty. So they must be, Keshav thought that yes, they must be really feeling very hot and thirsty. There is nothing close to a shade above them. There is no shade above them, he said. The two children then brainstormed. That means they thought lot of thinking they did, and came up with the idea of erecting a makeshift roof, a temporary roof. They thought of making a temporary roof above the nest. Besides, a bowl of water and some grain of rice would also be kept nearby. It was decided. They decided to make a temporary roof and keep a bowl of water and some grains of rice also nearby. The siblings began working tirelessly towards the new cause. Now both the brother and sister, Shama and Keshav, started to work for what they had decided to do. Shama tiptoed into the kitchen and procured some rice from the clay pot. Shama very quietly, on her toes, very quietly went into the kitchen and took out some rice from the clay pot. Keshav secretly emptied the oil from the stone oil bowl and then scrubbed it clean to then refill it with drinking water. And Keshav quickly, the old oil pot which was there, he emptied it out, whatever little oil was there, and he cleaned it nicely and filled it with clean drinking water. Go, get me a garbage bag, he said. Bring me a garbage bag. But careful, Ma shouldn't see you. Keshav told her, Shama, to be very careful that mother should not see, and asked her to get a garbage bag. Shama ran into and quickly returned with the garbage bag. Keshav cleverly sat into a hole with some waste paper and hung the basket from the branch of a nearby tree. Now what Keshav did, the garbage bag, whatever the hole was, he stuffed it with some paper, waste paper, and then hung the basket from the branch of a tree which was nearby. See how the shadow of the basket is now acting as a shade for the nest. Now the basket was hanging in front, so the shadow of the basket was falling on the nest and giving shade to the nest. So it was shading it from the sun. Shama admiringly pondered on how clever her elder brother was. Shama really thought, pondered means thinking, that she had a very clever brother. It was the summer month. Babuji had left for work. Mother had lain down to rest after having put the siblings to an afternoon siesta. That means now, since it was summer month and the children were at home during the vacation time, most probably, their father had gone to work, and the mother had also laid down after doing her work and putting the children for afternoon rest. But the children were not asleep. Both the children were not sleeping. As soon as Ma dozed off, that means as soon as their mother went off to sleep, they sat up quickly, got off the bed, unlatched the door and tiptoed out. As the mother went to sleep, they quickly got up off the bed very quietly, opened the door, and went out very quietly without making any noise. Then they began making preparations to safeguard the eggs. Now they started to make some preparation to make the eggs safe. Keshav quickly fetched a stool from the room. He quickly brought a stool from the room, but it was still too high it was not high enough so that he could reach the nest on the chronicle. So the stool was not very high so that he could reach the nest. So he brought another item, a small bathing stool. So over one stool he brought another item, another bathing stool to put over it, and placing it over the first one, he gingerly climbed on. That means he very carefully climbed up. Shama held the stool in place with both hands. Shama was holding the stool. The stool wobbled. Wobble means it was shaky, much due to its uneven legs, and even tipped slightly whichever side the pressure from Keshav's feet increased. So it shifted also a little bit wherever Keshav would stand or put pressure from his feet, the stool would shift. So this was very dangerous actually. Only Keshav knew what dread assailed him at that moment. Only Keshav knew what scary, what dangerous thing was coming towards him at that time, how he felt. "You silly, hold the stool tightly. If I fall down, I shall beat you nicely," Keshav told Shama. But his sister's entire attention was taken up by the nest on the chronic. Her sister was very interested in the nest. So she was looking at the nest and not holding the stool properly. Repeatedly, her mind veered in that direction. Every time her mind would run in that direction, and time and again her hold on the stool slackened. That means she was holding the stool loose sometime or the other, because her mind was actually not paying attention on the stool but at the nest. Just as Keshav's hands reached the chronic, the birds flew away. As his hands reached the chronic, the birds flew away. Keshav found a few twigs scattered on the chronic. 3 beautiful eggs were lying on them. There were 3 eggs on them and just few twigs around. "Can you see any chick, bhaiya?" Shama's voice inquired impatiently. Now Shama impatiently wanted to know if there was any chick, and she asked him, "Is there any chick there? Can you see any chick there?" "No, there are only 3 eggs here. The chicks haven't hatched yet," Keshav told her. "Please show me, bhaiya, how big are the eggs? What color?" she wanted to know. "I'll show you. First, go fetch some rags," ordered the elder brother. Now brother said, "I'll show you, but bring some old cloth or something which he can put there." Shama quickly returned with a piece of cloth she had torn off an old sari of mother's old sari. From there she tore a piece of cloth and brought back. Keshav folded it a number of times in turn and turned it into a makeshift cushion. Like a cushion, he folded it and gently placed it under the eggs. So he very softly picked up the eggs, put it on them. "I too want to see the nest, bhaiya," Shama once again pleaded impatiently. Again Shama told him that, "I want to see the nest." "Yes, I will show it to you, but now go bring the basket so that I can make a roof," replied Keshav. Now Keshav said, "Now go and bring the basket. I will show you the eggs first so that I can make the roof out of the basket." Shama handed him the basket from below. Keshav rested the basket against the branch and said, "Go, bring some more water and grain." Then he put the basket against the branch so that again the shadow would fall and it would be more shade for the nest. and then he told her to bring some more water and grain. Shama refilled the bowl of water and brought some more grain too. Keshav placed them both near the nest and climbed down softly. Shama brought everything and he put the water in the bowl and the grains also near the nest, and he came down. Shama, now help me climb up. I too want to see, Shama begged once again. Now Shama said, now it's my turn, I want to see. But Keshav replied, you'll fall down. Keshav said, you'll fall down, don't go. I won't fall down, argued Shama. You please hold the stool like I did for you. Shama said, I will not fall down. You hold the stool the way I held it for you. And then she wanted to climb. No way, just in case you fall down, Ma will make green chutney out of me. What would you do by seeing the eggs anyways? When they hatch, we'll both come back and take a peek at the chicks. He said, what will you do? You will fall down, and then mother will make green chutney, means she will beat me very much, and because if you fall down. So what will you do by seeing the eggs anyways? When the chicks hatch, then we'll come back and then we'll see the chicks. Even as Keshav spoke, the parent birds would flutter their wings near the chronic only to fly away again. Now, as Keshav was speaking, the parent bird, the mother bird, came back and then saw the eggs and went back again. Keshav wondered if they were scared. He quickly got off and removed the stool. Keshav thought maybe they are scared, and so he quickly got down and removed the stool. Shama's eyes welled up with tears. You didn't show me, she complained. Shama's eyes were filled with tears and she started to cry. You didn't show me. She was very upset about it. Just then the door pulled back and mother came out, shielding her eyes from the glaring sun. Just then what happened? Their mother came out, the door opened, and the mother came out trying to put her hand in front of her eyes so that the sunlight doesn't fall on it. What are you both doing out there in this torrid heat, in this so much heat? What are you all doing? She's asked. And who opened the latch? Who opened the latch which was there? Keshav had opened the latch, but Shama did not give that away. Who had opened the latch? Keshav had opened, but Shama did not say anything. She was afraid that her brother might get a beating from Ma. She was scared that her brother might get a beating. Keshav, on the other hand, was afraid that her sulking sister might squeal. He was afraid that maybe her sister, because he did not show her the eggs, she might say something. He had not shown her the eggs. He could not trust her. So he could not even trust her. Maybe she would say something. But whether Shama remained silent out of her sisterly concern or because she too was partner to the crime is a matter of conjecture. Perhaps it was both. Now Shama did not say anything. So maybe because she loved her brother so much she didn't want him to get hurt or beaten up. Or maybe because she was also partner in all this, what was happening. So she did not say anything. Now that is a matter to think about. Ma scolded the siblings and prodded them both back into the room. Mother scolded the children and she pulled them back into the room. Latching the door, she started fanning the children gently. Soon the two fell into sound sleep. Now she closed the door and then started to fan the children, and both the children, they went off to sleep. Shama woke up with a start. Suddenly Shama woke up after that. At 4 o'clock, she ran to the chronic and craned her neck. Now suddenly she woke up and she ran to the chronic and she tried to see. There was no basket. She then chanced to look down. There was no basket there. Okay, and then when she looked down, by chance she looked down, Shama ran back inside the room and called out excitedly, Bhaiya, the eggs have fallen down. The chicks must have flown away. Surprised, Keshav ran to the chronic. He found the 3 eggs lying broken on the floor. So what she saw was the eggs had fallen down, and she ran quickly to her brother in excitement, and she told him, Bhaiya, the eggs have fallen down. Maybe the chicks have flown away. Keshav also ran fast behind her to see that the 3 eggs had fallen and broken on the ground. A slimy white and yellow fluid was oozing out of all the 3 eggs. Slimy yellowish liquid type of thing was oozing or flowing out of the eggs. The bowl of water they had kept was also lying upturned. Means the water also bowl that they had kept, that was also kept upside down. At once Keshav's face went pale. Keshav suddenly felt very strange and he became very pale. Pale in the sense, color went out of his face. He stared at the ground, shocked, with gloomy eyes. With sad eyes, he looked at the ground. Where have the 3 chicks flown to, Bhaiya? Shama inquired. Shama wanted to know whether 3 chicks have flown. The eggs are broken, Keshav finally uttered the sad truth. He now finally told her that the eggs were broken. But where are the chicks gone? She still doesn't know. So she's asking where the chicks are gone. Where do you think they must have gone? He snapped. He got very angry. Where do you think? Can't you see the white and yellow fluid coming out? That would have turned into chicks in a few days, but it did not. He told her this white and yellow fluid that is there, that would have turned into chicks, but now this has not happened. The eggs are broken. Now Ma was heard shouting from behind. What are you 2 doing outside in the sun again? Now they could hear their mothers coming, shouting, what are you all doing in the sun? Ma, look, the eggs are broken, exclaimed Shama. Now Shama was very sad also. She immediately said, Mommy, see, the eggs are broken. You must have messed with them, said Ma with anger, looking at the mess of broken eggs, white shell. Her mother was very angry. She said, you all must have done something. That is why this has happened. Now Shama did not wish to pity or spare her brother. Now Shama did not want to have mercy on her brother. And so she came out with the truth. It was he who made not have placed the eggs carefully enough. So they must have rolled off. He ought to be punished, she thought. Shama thought that most probably Keshav had not placed the eggs properly and that is why they had fallen, and now he should be punished for doing that wrong. He touched the eggs, Ma, cried Shama. Why so? Ma asked angrily. So Shama said, Mummy, he touched the eggs. So why did you touch the eggs? Keshav stood there tongue-tied. Now Keshav was absolutely shocked. He couldn't speak anything. And how on earth you reach so high up there? Ma demanded. Now mother wanted to know how they reached so high. He had placed one little bath stool on another stool and climbed up on top of both, Shama said. Now Shama was telling her everything, that Keshav had placed 2 stools and climbed over them. Weren't you holding the stools in place? Keshav snapped back, livid. Very angrily, Keshav answered back, were you not holding the stool? That's because you had told me to. Shama answered back. You had told me, that's why I was holding. You are a grown-up boy, Keshav, said Ma. Don't you know that if you touch birds' eggs, they become tainted and the birds don't hatch them anymore? Mother said, Keshav, you are a grown up boy, you're a big boy. Don't you know that if you touch the bird's eggs or do anything, then they become tainted? That means they become spoiled, and the birds don't hatch them anymore. You mean the birds themselves drop the eggs from the nest? A fearful Shyama asked Maya. Ma. So Shyama asked, that means birds must have dropped their eggs from the chronic. What else could the birds have done? Ma replied. Oh my God, Keshav, you have done a horrible thing. You have taken 3 lives. Now mother said, Keshav, you have done a very horrible thing. You have taken 3 lives. Because by touching the eggs, now the birds didn't want to hatch them, so they dropped them down. So that is what happens usually. When you touch the eggs, the birds don't hatch them anymore, and they drop them down, because according to, as per the birds, in their thinking, it is the egg is spoiled. Keshav looked hurt. He felt very sad. I had merely cushioned the eggs, he quietly uttered. He tried to help. Hearing him say that, Mother laughed, however, when she heard this. However, for quite some time after the incident, Keshav was downhearted, pricked by guilty conscience. Keshav, even after a long time, mother laughed at it, because okay, fine, the eggs had fallen, what can we do about it? He had tried to help, but it turned all wrong. But still Keshav felt upset, he was unhappy, and he felt guilty for those eggs falling down and breaking. In his effort to protect the eggs, he had ended up destroying them, and this very thought would even make him break into sobs at times. Sometimes, to help, he tried to help, but that help only became a problem, and those eggs broke. And so many times, what would happen? Keshav would start crying because of this. As for the 2 birds, they were never again seen there. And those 2 birds which had made the eggs there, they were never seen in that place again. They were